So I just got out of a meeting a little while ago. At a meeting, I'm leaving a meeting right now. I just had a meeting before that. And so in that meeting, I was explaining to this company that, has like a really interesting network. I was meeting with the founder, and it's like, it got to the point in a conversation where I was like, I just had to say, like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm genius, and because of that, the ideas and the way that I'm presenting things may not work for you, and you may not understand it, but it works for where we're going. And even if you don't understand it completely, you got to take that risk. You got to move forward and think in that way. And, the person was a little bit like, man, you shouldn't say you're a genius and blah, 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 and that whole thing. And, it was an interesting idea. So when I left the meeting, I thought about it. I was like, is it a good thing to say you're a genius, or is it not a good thing, right? And so here's my argument. I believe that, the reason why people don't like the concept of people calling themselves genius or smart or any type of self-recognition, has a lot to do with the society and the culture that we live in. And a lot of the society was built around, is built around economics, right? And economics are businesses and how business functions. And when you think about that, like, especially like the country, like agriculture being such a big part of, the growth of America, right, is agriculture. And it's like, what was the concept of agriculture? Like people living on farms and being very, very spiritual in a lot of levels, you know what I mean? But it was a very like group orientated dynamic, like where it was like a family and everyone had different roles, whatever. And then you could progress and say, like, in the Industrial Revolution, it was like the same thing, you know what I mean? That was like, machines came and eventually factories, and even in the factory, the supply line, the whole psychology was like group, team, these different things. And then you look at the entertainment that we have. Most of our entertainment is sports, and the sports are around groups and teams and concept. Even though there's stars within that team, you still have a star. You have stars in companies too. You have a vice president, you have a CEO, you have different people that are stars too, but at the same time, it's still within this collective. And so now we're in this new era, where the companies, are no longer based around, not even saying factories, but even just corporate buildings, that were like, say, after the factories, you could say corporations, computers, right? The computer information age, right? So you have these big companies that produce, but it was still supply lines, it was still manufacturing, it was still the same idea that build, automotive and all these other, huge industries in America that revolve around, factories and businesses like that. But now we're in a new era. We're in the era of the individual. The individual now is like king of everything. You know what I mean? Like the individual is just as impactful as a country, or just as impactful as a corporation, in terms of their impact in the world, their reach, these different things, to the point that when you look at a lot of these countries around the world, when they have problems with their communities, they shut down the internet, because the internet has such a, ability to impact, and that individual has such a, one picture could change the world. That's what we live in today. And so when I say I'm genius, it's not just saying I'm genius from the standpoint of like, I'm better than you, because that's the psychology. The psychology that was built out of that culture was the person who wants glorification. The person who wants glorification, that person can't fit into the whole, and so that person has to be demonized. So if you say like, I'm the star, I'm the man, I'm the guy, blah 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 blah, then you're the bad apple. You got to get rid of that person. But when you say you're a genius, people interpret that as meaning I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you. And that's not true. What is genius? Genius, everyone has something unique about them. You know what I mean? Like everyone has something unique about them. And it's like, it just depends on when you were born. You know what I mean? Like there's people who have maybe a unique ability to shoot a bow and arrow. You know what I mean? And maybe like hundreds of years ago, they would have been like, maybe, I don't know, maybe longer than 100 years ago, but like maybe 1,000 years ago, a person like that would have been so valuable to a country. As we're today, maybe someone who is able to operate, have the gift to operate on a body or heal someone, that has a certain amount of value. You know what I mean? So it's like every generation, some things have more value than others, but nevertheless, the uniqueness is still the same, right? So everyone is unique no matter what. And that's the bottom line, right? So when I say I'm genius, I'm just in touch with what makes me unique. Concepts, integrating them, messages, vision, big picture stuff, creative thinking, cross collaborations, connecting dots, all that type of stuff. Allowing to raise money and be creative and create marketing plans and engage people in projects and create visions and all those different things. Like that's maybe the talent that I have, bro, let me call you right back. I'm making a viral video right now.
What's up, Morty?
Bro, all right, bro, I'm gonna call you back. I'm making a viral video. I'm gonna call you back.
What did you say?
I'm making a viral video. I'm gonna call you back.
All right.
So anyways, so that's the thing, so that's where we're at right now. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. And so saying you're a genius is saying that you're in touch with what's unique to you, what makes you unique. And your motivation should be to inspire someone else to say, what about me is unique? Because it doesn't matter how many people appreciate it or enjoy it or how valuable it is economically. You getting in touch with that uniqueness is what's going to bring you the most happiness. And I think every, great, like, spiritual thinker, would probably agree with that idea, that what makes you unique and being in touch with that, no matter how big you share it, it's, is that. So anyways, so that's just the core idea is we're in a new era where you have to let people know that you're here, and you have to let people know that you're in touch with what makes you unique, and the basis of their confidence in your vision should come from that idea.